Stewart, sir.
Director Washington, are you there? Director Webb, are you there? Okay, bear with us, folks, while we get the rest of the directors online. We had some unforeseen technical difficulties getting the meeting booted up, but we apologize for the delay, but we will be getting underway shortly.
And there were 5 on the line.
Yeah, but not Rick or Ben's online, but I don't see Mr. Washington. We just need to let them know to text in. I texted should be coming on pretty quick. Rick, are you online yet?
Hey, everybody. Director Washington here.
Hey.
Good evening.
Good evening. And still waiting for Director Webb, so let's give it another moment.
Okay.
Okay, let's do an informal roll call of the directors, make sure see who's online. Director Stewart, you there?
Yes, sir.
Director Washington?
I'm here.
Director Webb? Director Glennon?
Here.
All right, well, we have a quorum, and Rick will be joining us as soon as he can. And we've delayed the meeting long enough for the other participants that are listening in, taking time out of their day for this. So let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, and let's do a roll call. President Greg Wood here. Vice President Rick Webb. Director Gregory Washington.
Here.
Director Byron Glennon. Here. Director Ben Stewart.
Here.
Okay, please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second by Washington.
Okay, motion is made by Director Glenn and second by Director Washington. Roll call vote. President Greg Wood? Yes. Vice President Rick Webb? Absent. Director Gregory Washington?
Yes. Director Webb on.
Director Byron Glenn? Yes. Director Ben Stewart?
Yes.
And this is for approval of the agenda. Vice President Rick Webb?
President, yes.
Okay, motion is approved. Agenda is approved, 5-0. All right, public comments. At this time, I will dispense with the reading of the statute, but let the record show that we are opening the floor for public comments. Anybody wishing to make any public comments before the board, ask you to please state your name and keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. So does anybody wish to make public comments at this time?
Because we died. I'm sorry.
Trying.
Hello? public comment.
I'm sorry, guys, I'm on a conference call. What? Oh, that's awesome. Is that the charger? Yeah. Well, that's
Okay.
battery up. You got a charger?
Being as there are no public comments, we will close public comments. All right, closed session. We have 3 items for closed session. Steve, are we going in on all 3?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so I'd like a motion to go into closed session on items 1, 2, and 3 as stipulated in the agenda.
So moved. Second by Director Washington.
Okay, motion made by Director Glennon, seconded by Director Washington. Roll call vote.
President Wood?
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb?
Yes.
Director Gregory Washington?
Yes.
Director Byron Glenham? Yes. Director Ben Stewart?
Yes. Okay, and it's 5-0. We are adjourned to closed session at 5:51. Everyone hang up and please call in on your closed session phone number and we'll talk to you. Are we all on now, Steve? Mm-hmm. Okay, no. All right, we are back. Do I have motion to come out of closed session?
Motion by Director Washington. Second by Director Stewart.
Okay, so motion made by Director Glennon, second by Director Washington. Roll call vote.
President Greg Wood?
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb? Director Greg Washington?
Yes.
Director Byron Glenham?
Yes.
Director Ben Stewart?
Yes.
Director Gregory, Vice President Rick Webb had to leave, and he's apparently still offline.
Okay. All right. And with that, we are out of closed session at 6:22. And there is no reportable action on closed session. All right, with that, we'll move on to our regular meeting open session. And we'll move to public comments. And at this time, again, I will dispense with the reading of the statute. But anybody wishing to make public comments, please state your name and limit your comments to 5 minutes. And so at this time, is there anybody wishing to make public comments? Okay. And all right. And with that, I will close public comments. I have a late breaking item that I need to get added to the agenda. And it is this issue came to the board's attention after the posting of the agenda, and the Edwards Air Force Base Restoration Advisory Board needs to fill the vacancy. And so with that, I would like to ask a motion to add this to the agenda as new business 4.
So moved.
Do I have a second, please?
Second by Director Washington.
All right, so motion is made by Director Glennon, second by Director Washington. Roll call vote.
President Greg Wood?
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb? Director Gregory Washington?
Yes.
Director Byron Glenham?
Yes.
Director Ben Stewart?
Yes.
All right, and when we get to that on the agenda, I will read the recommendations for it, and then the board can make a decision. Okay, motion carries. Presentations, water reclamation plant project update.
Just a very brief update on the water. The contractor is currently conducting hydrostatic tests on the new clarifier and distribution box number 5. Tests are a little longer than they normally would for a project this size. That is because the operations department
thought of purchasing the water from AVAC to do that, or would that be pretty expensive to?
It would actually be more costly to purchase it through AVAC. We can pump and store an acre foot of water for somewhere in the $100 per acre foot, as opposed to $640 per acre.
If there was a need for that to really move quickly, though.
If there was a need, we could do that. The lines that do wastewater treatment plant are the lines that see everything system back as far as the water line. And so if we were to pull too much, we would have pressure draw.
On the construction, Brock, is there anything that you're looking at with the wet months coming up that's going to have an impact on the construction, or are they pretty much past that point now?
I believe we're past that point. We do continue to monitor our stormwater prevention program out there that's released operational needs for the project, and we do have built-in fees in place as well as some stops in place to prevent excessive water from running into the construction area of the plant. So I believe we're past the point of that impacting the project, but we will continue to monitor that, and we see progress meetings, we do monitor the forecast if there are any weather events or something that could interfere with construction.
What's the timeline for putting the roads in out there around the new facility?
They actually started the gravel roadways around the facility, so they're working on those right now. One of the ones that we from the network of the plant around the roadways. So the interior roadways that are less traveled will be completed towards the end of the project once we're done working in those areas.
Okay, so even if we have heavy rains, we'll have access. We're not going to have a muddy quagmire out there.
It won't prevent us from accessing any active area of the plant.
Okay, good. All right. All right, any other questions for Brock on the plant update? All right, thank you, Brock. Okay, new business. New business one, approve leasing the property located at 2700 20th Street West, Roseman, to the Kern Antelope Historical Society. Presenter Steve Perez.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the board's aware, we've been talking with the Kern Antelope Historical Society for quite some time to try to find them a home, and attempted to do so on Diamond Street, but because of the necessary construction for seismic and forest stability purposes, that project could not move forward. We have the building that the district used to use as their administrative buildings come available, and spoke with the Historical Society to see if they would be interested in utilizing that facility for their museum. Now, the museum that they want to house there is for things in East Kern County, as well as specifically, not specific to just Roseman, but all Eastern Kern County. And I think personally that it's a very good use of the building, because if the building sits there, it will deteriorate, and with the Historical Society in the building, they will make, pursuant to the lease agreement that has been drafted, various improvements to fit the museum style, as well as provide an area for museum historical things that the RCSD has as well. In addition to that, a set aside of a small office space for the district. These things all coming together for the purposes of benefiting everyone in the community of Roseman. Not to mention an outbuilding, an annex building, just south of the steel building that is located there, is finished and has a restroom and could serve some community interests for meetings. I know that Director Stewart and I, when we walked in, the first thing on our minds was Boy Scouts and Cub Scout meeting space. So I think there's something there for for everyone, and I think it could be a good home for the Historical Society. And the proposed lease amount would be $12 a year because it is a community benefit. And so I would put it to the board to, the recommendation is to approve a lease. And the draft lease that I have in front of you, I think needs a little bit more work. It's a last-minute type of lease and probably a little bit overdone. So,
well, I want to thank Steve and all the directors and staff that have worked on this for quite a while now. I'm very excited about this because the idea of having a museum that's, you know, for our community and people, you know, to go look in the post office at the picture of our first Postmaster General, how our community, Rosamond, got its name. And there is so much history here in this community, and it needs to be showed off. It needs to be displayed for everybody in the community to enjoy and learn something about, you know, where you've lived for, you know, I've lived here almost 30 years. And so, to me, it's been a long process on getting this done. The gentleman told me that the new Edwards Museum that's going to be opening up shortly, right outside the West Gate, is supposed to attract 170,000 people a year. And those 170,000 people have to drive right through Rosamond to get to it. And so anybody driving all the way to Edwards to look at their museum, they're going to make an effort to stop at our museum to see what we have to offer. So I don't expect 170,000 people to come in, but you know, a good portion of those people are going to stop at the Rosamond Museum to see what they have to show off. And so it's not only a good thing for the community. I'm actually happy that the museum is going to be at our building over on 20th Street instead of Diamond, because it's got much more visible access on 20th. It's got parking. It's got plenty of street parking and a parking lot. So, you know, guests can go there and, you know, park their vehicles and go inside and enjoy it. And plus, you know, with the multi-purpose room that's off to the south end of the property, is going to be a good thing for some of our other worthy groups in this community, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and stuff, that they don't have a permanent home to meet at. And if they can have someplace where they can meet and it's safe and where they can count on being able to go there, I think it's great. So, I mean, I'm really looking forward to the ribbon cutting ceremony of this museum and being able to go visit it. And I mean, I personally love museums. I think they're great, and I think this is a good chance for this community to show off and what we're all about and how we came to be. So, thank you, Steve.
I might add that the discussions with Gretchen Winfrey, I'm going to give her, if the board moves on this to approve the lease, that give her the keys so she can start showing some of her board and stuff inside. They have, I believe, enlisted the assistance of Al Carlson, who we all know designed the Rcsd building we're in right now. And so he's going to assist them, I believe, in trying to reformulate the inside of the building so it's conducive to their museum needs and our needs. And so I'm looking forward to both of that. I believe Gretchen is listening in tonight and may have a couple words before we leave this item, and possibly Al Carlson, I'm not sure. Okay.
Is there any public comment on this item on the agenda this evening? Anybody wishes to speak on this?
I'm not sure that you can hear me. This is Gretchen Winfrey. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
I just want to thank all of you who are part of RCSD for supporting this. Your comments mirror my feelings exactly. And this is going to be a huge project for us, so we're excited about it. So thank you very much for considering this.
You're most welcome.
I have a couple thoughts. Now that there's a home and a facility, they allow them to get some funds from Borax, from Silver Queen, those places to enhance the museum because they actually have a location. And the second comment is not near as important, but an empty building is a big mistake to have just an empty building sitting there. We just get deteriorate and get written on and broken into and that kind of stuff. So, but with a home, they may be able to solicit some funds from Tropical. There's nothing there except history, no money coming. But Silver Queen probably could come up with some money, and I'm sure Borax would be interested because they've done extensively there in Boron.
Well, I'm excited, and if there are no other public comments, then I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the lease on New Business 1.
I'll move.
Second by Director Washington.
Okay, motion is made by Director Glennon, seconded by Director Washington. Roll call vote.
President Greg Wood?
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb? Director Washington?
Yes.
Director Byron Glennon?
Yes.
Director Ben Stewart?
Abstain.
Okay, and if motion carries 3 with 1 abstention. All right, congratulations to the Rosamond Current Antelope Historical Society. I'm looking forward to getting an invitation to your grand opening.
Thank you.
All right, now with that, we're going to go to New Business 2, cancel the November 11th, 2020 regular board meeting. Presenter Steve Perez.
Yes, Mr. President, this is November 11th is Wednesday on our board day, and it is Veterans Day, and we're proposing that we honor that and not have a meeting on that day. Now, it won't be that if we have business that we need to tend to, that we can't call a special meeting to handle that, and we will be having our meeting, our subsequent meeting on the 25th.
Okay. All right, if there's no comments from the board, I'd like a motion to cancel the November 11th regular board meeting.
So moved. Second by Director Washington.
Okay, motion is made by Director Glennon, second by Director Washington. Roll call vote.
President Greg Wood?
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb? Director Gregory Washington?
Yes.
Director Byron Glennon? Yes. Director Ben Stewart?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 4-0. All right, new business 3. Approve the closure of the district office from December 28th, 2020 through December 30th, 2020. Presenter Steve Perez.
This is a standard time frame that the district closes the offices based on the holidays, and in this time, district employees use their time off. We're not giving them free time or anything else. And I believe since I started in 2011, we have done a closure on the Christmas New Year holiday.
All right, great.
I'd also like to add that this gives the district staff a chance to actually take their vacation days, but if they don't have vacation days or they don't want to use those vacation days, there are still members of the staff who are working during that time, and we use that as an opportunity to catch up on weekends around the office that we can't otherwise take a week in the office.
Okay.
Years past, we've had a 4 to 5 operators still working in this time frame.
Okay.
We're not forcing them to take time.
All right, sounds good. It's been a very difficult year for everybody, and hopefully after we get through December 30th, next year will bring better times. All right, do I have a motion to approve the closure of the district office from December 28th through December 30th? All right, motion made by Director Glenn, second by Director Washington. Roll call vote.
President Greg Wood?
Yes.
Vice President Beth? Director Gregory Washington?
Yes.
Director Byron Glenn?
Yes.
Director Ben Stewart?
Yeah.
Okay, and motion carries. 5. Was that Director Webb back online? Okay, so that's 5-0. All right,
Wait, was,
I've got one more, I'm sorry. Hold on, it was 4.
before you go there, was Director Webb back on?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, I thought you said he was.
No, I don't know if he was on this last vote that we just had.
That's what I meant. Because I had it 4-1. I thought you said 5-0.
Well, I thought I heard him come on. I wasn't
Okay.
sure. That's why I was asking. All right. Okay, are you there, Director Webb? Okay, then I was hearing things.
I think somebody called.
Okay. All right, we're going to go on to new business 4, and this is for appointing a representative to the Edwards Air Force Base Restoration Advisory Board. And the recommendation is it is recommended to reappoint Mr. William Gaddis, who has served on the RAB as Roseland Public Representative since 2011. And this is because his 2-year appointment has expired. And Mr. Gaddis has graciously agreed to serve another term if appointed. And so at this time, I'd like to see if there's any discussion from the board on this item.
I have no reason to change course.
Nope. Is there any public comment on this item?
This is Director Stewart. Can you guys explain to me what this is?
Well, the restoration board, from what I can remember from memory on it, it's basically they're the ones that meet for the cleanup of the base, all the testing they've done there over the decades, to make sure that the water isn't being impacted, that the soils aren't being impacted. And basically they get together just to meet and make sure that when they go to clean up a site, that they're looking out for environmental interests that could impact not only Edwards Air Force Base, but the communities surrounding Edwards Air Force Base as well. And as you know, they have dumped tons and tons of jet fuel on that ground, and all the operations that they've had there since the 40s. They're the community's watchdog to make sure that nothing comes off of that base that could end up harming the surrounding communities. It's a very important board that meets and discusses this stuff, and it's Mr. Gaddis has been there since 2011, and I can't remember the gentleman that was before him, but
He was there a long time.
he was there for a long time. They're very highly educated, highly qualified people that really know what they're doing and know what they're looking for, and we are very fortunate to have these people on that board watching out for us.
I might add that because of PFAS, that this might be a very integral board in watching out for the best interests of our aquifers and the like.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's what the RAB is. That's probably not totally accurate, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell the way I understand it. Pretty good. Okay, so at this time, are there any other discussions or comments from the directors? Okay, so I'd like to get a motion to reappoint Mr. William Guest to the RAB.
So moved.
Second by Director Washington.
All right, motion was made by Director Glennon, seconded by Director Washington. And roll call vote.
President Greg Wood?
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb? Director Gregory Washington?
Yes.
Director Byron Glennon? Yes. Director Ben Stewart?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. That passes 4-0. All right. And with this, we're going to go on Director's Report, comments, future agenda items, and let's go ahead and start with Byron.
The recent Aqua meeting, there's just a couple significant things I'd want to pass on to you. They're very concerned about new management zone requirements and requiring forms to fill out for compliance. And they have 1 year to fill out all this data consolidation, and they're seeing it as a potential roadblock the San Joaquin Valley as far as the farming is concerned. And they have some hard decisions to make in relationship to the zoning that they're going to have to face. Secondly, the next year, the temperatures are going to be above normal in Southern California and San Joaquin Valley, and precipitation is going to be below normal. So we're going to have a little bit warmer weather and a little bit less precipitation. I hope that those predictions aren't true. Mark Bueller, who advises us for the water bank, keeps us pretty much abreast of that, but he would almost agree with that, I'm afraid. So it could be next year the reservoirs may be down significantly next year, but they're not this year.
Right. All right. Director Stewart.
No, nothing tonight.
All right. Director Washington.
No comments.
Okay, I've got a couple. I attended the AVEC meeting last night, and kind of piggybacking on what, is that you, Director Webb?
Yeah, I'm back on, guys. Sorry about that. I a young one call. Yeah, I'm here.
Director's report and comments and future agenda items, and I guess I'll go ahead and let you speak on that before we move on.
Only thing I have, folks, is that next week's going to be a hectic week for me. So keep me in your prayers. Starting Sunday, we'll be in TAC alert. And I don't know what it's going to be, but we'll get through it. I know I missed the other part of it. Steve, did you talk more about the museum?
Yes, we did. We passed the peace agreement.
I just want to quickly address that. Thank you guys for that. I think that'd be a really good thing for the community as a whole. That'll be something really good for us. And other than that, thank you folks for logging on and hearing us out. Thank you, President.
Okay. A couple of things. I attended the AVEC meeting last night, virtually, and along with Byron. And to kind of touch on what he has said there, they give us these updates on the reservoirs, and right now they're in fairly good shape. but they are dropping. And they're making a big push as an agency, working in partnership with Palmdale Water District and for recharge water and also for banking water with Palmdale Water District and LA County Water Works District 40 and company. And, you know, in light of the forecast that we're getting, that I think that we ought to look into having on a future agenda, Steve, is maybe looking for some opportunities to maybe get some water, if it's available at a good price, solely for putting in the water bank, just to kind of pad our accounts a little bit to prepare. I mean, if things hold true with what they're saying about the water issue, you know, we could very well be in worse shape as far as water coming down from the Delta than we were back in 2013, 2014, and that year. So I know it's everybody's trying to get some, but if there's an opportunity, I think we ought to look into maybe at least exploring that. You know, we've got a lot of other things in the fire that we're working on, including our treatment plant with the percolation and things of that nature.
Yes. In that report, if you remember, they say they have 120,000 acre feet in their water banks right now.
They've been doing it a lot, and Palmdale Water District is prepared for their future with carryover rights, and we're doing a lot to prepare for our future as well. We did a great job there. But if there's an opportunity that we can get more water put in the bank, then I think that we ought to be prepared to move in that direction if the opportunity comes. Also, I would like to have a special board meeting set up for 4 o'clock on Monday, November 2nd, for closed session item number 2. And as it's written in there, if we can have the meeting set up for that to discuss further on this item. And also, one last thing. Tuesday is election day, everyone. And no matter who you're voting for, please vote. Please get out, mail your ballots in if you haven't already done it, or get to the polls and cast your vote. I mean, it is so important that everybody has their voice heard. And this is the time, so I'm asking everybody to please vote. All right? So with that, we'll move on to General Counsel update. Do we have an update from Joe? Okay, there is none. And General Manager update, Steve?
Yeah, in the last couple months, we've been winding down or winding up, however you want to look at it, the arsenic consolidation. And today, I was able to sign documents for payment reimbursements. And if you'll draw your attention back to the first of the year, I came to you to request that the district pay the engineering firm GEI $150,000 to keep them on board, because the state had not paid them for about 2 years, and it was starting to hurt them. Now their bills were over I think it was 300,000, and this is what I thought that we could do and what we could handle. And it was because we were going to get this money back that we even considered it. So today I signed papers for not only the reimbursement of that, as well as other expenses, legal and staff time for the district. So it's starting to take off, and we'll probably be discussing the project a little bit more with the state on how we proceed, but not the fact that we are going to proceed. And hopefully we'll begin construction in the first of the year, and bringing all of the, 5, possibly 7 small water companies into the district, as well as 1 additional. When they were doing the project, we had 10 when we started, I believe, and Lands of Promise were also involved in that. After I left for a short period, Lands of Promise got dropped out. Well, now the state has acquiesced, and they're working to bring the Lands of Promise back, and Lands of Promise has voted to consolidate with the district also. So that will be on the back burner. Hopefully it won't hold up any of the projects that's moving forward. And I just wanted to report that staff is also working on that, and we'll be doing shortly going out to bid for construction for that.
So the contract to go out to bid for construction will begin with whatever one is the simplest one to connect. But those contracts are going to be happening next year.
The contract for construction of the project will be one contract for all of the consolidating entities.
And then we'll have priorities inside that contract.
I don't think that's laid out specifically in the contract documents. The state is currently reviewing those contract documents, so the bid documents as well as the construction plans. But I think the contractor will come down to which they connect first.
Will we do some of the connections ourselves with our labor?
No, all of those will be contracted out.
Steve,
But I would think it's important to set up a priority in those when we go for that.
I believe we'll have some influence in that, because some are under the gun with the state right now that need to be looked at. They're in they're facing fines, in fact.
Yeah, some of those water districts are borderline on when they are within compliance, so they're out of compliance, have been out of compliance.
Will we be the ones who oversee general contractors in this, or will the state?
As far as no.
Because the state
Well, yeah, we'll have influence in there, like any of our other projects. As far as labor compliance, we'll have a firm on them.
The proposed
Steve,
construction management.
Steve. Hello. Yeah, a question for you. Are we gonna have to hire additional people to maintain these new lines under these new accounts? Are we gonna be able to maintain with what we have currently?
Well, most of this is going to be fairly new, so on the near term, we won't have to do a big hiring because of all of it, but we will be preparing. It will cause us to look at more staff in the upcoming years. Be prepared for it.
especially Land of Promise, if it comes in. That would be significant connection.
Right. The big problem that Lands of Promise would have presented to us is they wanted to have a master meter and then have all their old infrastructure after the master meter. Well, if we would have done that, they'd been calling us, I'm sure. But now, with what they're discussing now, is everything in the consolidation, all new infrastructure, except for their service line. And that's the end of my report.
All right. Any other discussion or questions? All right. Director of Public Works update, John?
Business as usual.
questions for John?
How you doing, John?
Doing good.
Good. You trimmed your beard up a little bit?
And my hair.
Oh, okay. Steve looks like he's got a nice clean haircut recently. And Brock, too.
Hello, John. Glad to see you doing well.
Thank you.
And thank you. All right, Public Works Mayor Charles D. Brock.
Thank you. Some of you may have noticed that there's been significant construction along Rosemont Boulevard west of the freeway. So this is not the Rcsd project. This is a Kern County project to widen the roadways and cap shoulders to make it a little bit safer for pedestrians, bike riders, and just a safer environment for us. So Rcsd staff has been working closely with the county and the contractor on that project to make sure that they don't hit any of our infrastructure in place or bury any of our infrastructure in place. That's one of many upcoming county projects.
Is it allowing us to mark stuff a little bit more accurately now that they're doing that?
We've actually had accurate lines on all those lines to make sure that they don't come up to get out to a manhole.
Are they running that expansion where our sewer lines are at, or do our sewer lines run down the middle of Rosen Boulevard?
So they're actually, our sewer lines on the north side of Rosemont Boulevard, so they're not affected in any part of the current project. What they're doing is the south side of Rosemont Boulevard. We do have some water mains in that area, a couple valve cans that we'll have to relocate or elevate into the new grade once the project is completed. That won't affect any of our.
Okay, are they going to do the raising of the valve cans as part of their project?
No, we have to come in after the fact and relocate those valve cans. Fortunately, on this portion of the project, there's a valve can. So it's been located, and then we work with the contractor on that to remove and tap the existing valve can risers so there's no dripping into the valve plate, and then it's accurately marked with UPS and swing ties. So we can come back after the fact and put that valve can in place.
I always wondered, because normally, I don't know how they do things with the water. Do they do the same thing with the sewers as well?
Correct. So in the past, when they've done that, we would go in prior to the start of the project or the contract project, and we would remove the manhole cover in the ring and we would plate on the concrete ring, and then after the fact we would go and we would cut and pour a pad around it. But it depends on the project. Some of those are just a simple asphalt overlay that only has a quarter inch thick asphalt. Some of them are complete caps that add 2.5 inches of asphalt.
I would like to, if you can explain to me, so Kern County comes in and does a road improvement, and the existing utilities that are there, your manholes, sewer manholes, your vaults for SCE and everything else, that I understand they go in there and they pull the covers off and they plate everything, so they can go and do all this stuff. But when they go ahead and put in the final cap on the road, they do not raise the utilities grade to where they were. The utilities have to come in. And how does that happen?
That is also something that I questioned specifically with the county during the planning of the project. Part of our agreement for a common use area with the county and part of our encroachment permit, our blanket encroachment permit, is we are required to maintain that even if they change the road surface. It is our bonus, it is our requirement to maintain there.
Steve, could we look into this? Because I was not aware of this. And to me, it seems a little absurd that the county comes in and impacts our utilities, everybody's utilities. And Edison, okay, they're a for-profit company, same with the gas company, and I don't worry about them. But for us, I mean, they're doing a long stretch of Rosen Boulevard, and for us to have to go in behind them and raise our manholes at our own expense, to where while the contractor is doing whatever they're doing as part of the project, they raise the manholes. We supply the ring and cover to the contractors so they can bring it up to grade and set the new ring and cover in place. But that should be, when they're done with that road, the only thing that we supply to them is usually when they remove the old ring and cover, we'll supply a new ring and cover to be in place, but they do the work. I would like to look into that and have that brought on a future agenda item to address this, because if Kern County, like Brock said, they're getting ready to do a lot of road improvements in the community, I want to make sure that, all of a sudden this agency isn't having to foot the bill for something that should be included in the price of the road improvements to bring the utilities to where they were at before they started construction.
I think when you look at this, it might wash because of the encroachment permit itself. When we look at encroaching on the county roadway, if we had to go out and buy easement, it might pay for itself.
This specific project really has two valves in.
Right, but what when they get over to the north side and affect our manholes every 300 feet?
So the three projects that are currently planned have no effect on any of our surveys. The two upcoming projects after this one that I know of have no effect on a total of, I believe, 5 valves. And I agree with you, and I've definitely said that we have the funds, but I don't think the expense is going to be very large.
Well, I know that maybe right now we're not going to bear a big expense, but there's nothing we can do on this particular project. But I'm talking about in the future. We need to at least look at, what's it going to cost. And I know we didn't buy an easement, but I don't know of any public utility as far as water and sewer purchases an easement out to the middle of the street, in residential areas and things of that. It's part of the infrastructure that's put in place that we all pay our taxes for. And, we pay the infrastructure is put in place when you build new homes. Then you have the connection fees and the conservation fees and the AVEC fees and all that. It's supposed to pay for that infrastructure. But part of the taxes that we all pay on our property taxes every year is for the roads and everything else. And part of having a home here, you have to have your water lines. And so if the county does something that impacts those lines, it shouldn't be put back on the people to supplement that, because they're already being taxed for it. They shouldn't have to go back and pay more money through higher rates through the Rcsd to get their existing utilities that were just fine before they came in and did their construction. I would like to have staff look into this and then bring it back to the board, because that does concern me, because, anytime they go in there and do some work on a road and it impacts our stuff, that's fine. I mean, I know that we have an expense. If you're out there and you're driving around and you get a ringer on one of the sewer manholes, that, it's up to us to go in there, jackhammer that thing out, put in the concrete pack, drop a new ring and cover in, and then put the cold patch around it. I mean, that's what we do. But that's part of the maintenance of our system. But when we are impacted by something that is not part of the maintenance of our system, it's unfair for us to have to foot the bill for something that we didn't cause. And so I would like to really look into this and see what our options are on this. All right. With that, I have no more questions of Mr. Brock.
Thank you.
And with that, motion to adjourn. So moved.
Hey, Greg.
Yes.
Greg, before we adjourn, I have a quick question for Brock. Hey, Brock, you remember when we were over at the old Water District office? and we looked at, you said they were going to come out and then grading along that road was going to take up some of the sidewalk. Have they gotten back to you to tell you how much we were going to lose yet?
12 square feet.
Say that again, I couldn't hear you. What was that?
The total amount that we're going to lose on our property is 12 square feet, and that's just for the ADA compliance at the sidewalk apron.
Okay, gotcha. So it's not going to be a real big space there.
No.
Okay, perfect. That's what I needed. Thanks, Fox. Thanks for your report.
All right. And motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second, Director Webb.
All right, motion made by Director Glenn, second. President Wood? Yes. Vice President Rick Webb?
Yes, sir.
Director Gregory Washington? He already left. Director Byron Glennon? Yes. Director Ben?
I'm sorry. Yes, from Director Washington. I'm late on the mute button again.
Okay.
I could never be one on a game show.
It's 5-0. Okay. All right. And with that, we are adjourned at 7:13. You all have a pleasant evening, and we will see you at the next meeting.
Everyone be well. Good night.
All right. Good night, everyone.